What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. How is everybody doing? It's a bit of a different one this morning. We're doing something a little bit different, bit of an early show at the time of recording this, and it's going to be a little bit of bite-sized content for you today. Everything's just a bit crazy at the moment, isn't it? So we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about Kieran McKenna. Of course, leaving Manchester United. You can see it in the thumbnail there. McKenna leaves United because he is moving on to pastures new. Yes, Kieran McKenna has left Manchester United. Former Manchester United assistant coach Kieran McKenna has left Manchester United to become the new manager of Ipswich Town in League One. Now, this is a fascinating story because it's something that really suddenly seemingly came out of nowhere yesterday, didn't it? Suddenly, out of nowhere, Kieran McKenna was in advanced talks to become the manager of Ipswich Town in League One, and it was a case of he really wanted the job. He told Ralph Rangnick he wanted to leave, and then the club had given permission, but that just kind of happened yesterday, and then wouldn't you know it, by the time the evening rolls around yesterday, suddenly he's gone. He's the new manager of Ipswich Town. So Manchester United released a statement yesterday evening. It was quite late last night, actually, saying, quote, Manchester United first team coach Kieran McKenna has been confirmed as the new manager of Ipswich Town. The 35-year-old is joining the League One club on a 3.5-year contract as the permanent replacement for Paul Cook, although John McClaren has been in interim charge. The Suffolk side are scheduled to face Sunderland at home on Saturday. Talks about how McKenna joined as an under-18 coach, quickly enhanced his growing reputation, promoted to the first-team staff under Jose Mourinho, was a prominent part of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's backroom team, has been in the dugout as usual in recent matches under interim boss Ralph Rangnick. However, he accepted the opportunity to take up his first managerial opportunity with Ipswich after United had granted him permission about the vacancy. This is what Kieran McKenna has said about it, quote, it's been a great honour to work for Manchester United for the last 5 years. When I arrived as an under-18s lead coach in 2016, I had the privilege to work within a world-leading youth development system, coaching excellent talent in a truly fantastic environment. I'll always be grateful to Jose Mourinho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I have learned so much during the past few years, and it was a pleasure to be part of such a dedicated group of staff. I would like to thank Ralph Rangnick. I have really enjoyed the short time I have worked with him, and I really appreciate his understanding throughout this process. From the start of my coaching career, it has always been an ultimate ambition to move into football management, and I now have a fantastic opportunity to do that at Ipswich Town, an amazing club with a fantastic history. I want to thank the staff and the players that I have worked with over the years, and of course wish Ralph and this incredible club all the best for the future. So there you go. He is now the manager of Ipswich Town. He, of course, being Kieran McKenna. And look, I mentioned this yesterday when I did the stream with Flex when we were talking about the game postponements. It's a great opportunity for him. You can't argue that. It's a fantastic opportunity for him. As they mentioned in the statement, Kieran McKenna, he's in his 30s. He's 35 years old. So to be 35 years old and to get an opportunity to manage, whilst they may be in League One, Ipswich Town, I mean, it depends, I guess, your era or your generation, but certainly for me, I remember Ipswich Town when they were in the Premier League, and they're a big club, and certainly there's a big catchment area of fans there in East Anglia. Of course, Norwich is kind of the dominating club out there at the moment, them being in the Premier League and winning championships and getting up to the Premier League in recent season. But it's a huge opportunity. It's a tough job, no doubt about it. You know, historically over the last decade or so, plenty of managers, experienced managers, have tried it and not succeeded. You know, you think about Roy Keane, you think about Paul Lambert, Mick McCarthy managed to keep them in the Championship for a while, but eventually he left and they went down to League One. So it's a really tough job. But in terms of a first job, I suppose you can't really ask for much more than that. So well, my initial reaction yesterday when I heard about it on the stream, or when I read about it rather, was that, you know, Kieran McKenna's going to become the manager of Ipswich. I sort of went, well, good for him. Good for him. Most coaches, not every coach, but most coaches, when they get into coach, have an ambition to become a manager of a side, and that's the case for Kieran McKenna. And I think it almost kind of suits most everyone involved. You know, I think it kind of suits mostly everyone involved in the sense that the fans wanted him to go. I think a lot of people, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was sacked by Manchester United after that Watford game, it wasn't just Ole Gunnar Solskjaer they wanted to go. You know, it was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Michael Carrick and Kieran McKenna and Mike Phelan, and we don't really know the situation of Mike Phelan right now. Because, as we said before, it was never a dictatorship under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It was a very, very clear collaborative effort. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the front and the figurehead of all of that, but Kieran McKenna and Michael Carrick, not so much Mike Phelan, but certainly those three, that trio, they were really influencing everything. It was all them. You know, they might as well have been co-managers or joint managers. They had that much influence. So when Ollie went, a lot of people said, well, they've got to go as well. And especially when you look at McKenna and Carrick, they were there under two failing regimes, right? They were there in Mourinho's final season. They were there for all of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 2 and a bit seasons, 3 seasons at Manchester United as well. So they should go too. So I think it kind of suits all parties. I've seen a lot of people, happy because I think everyone just wants a bit of a fresh start. Everyone just wants to move on from the Solskjaer era. Everyone just wants to move on and just have a more experienced backroom staff, or a backroom staff that's got more experience, certainly coaching elite players. And that was kind of one of the biggest issues of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure, is that he didn't surround himself with experience. He didn't surround himself with those coaches that kind of made up for his lack of elite coaching experience. And that was one of the issues he had there. Again, the fans wanted him gone. I think from Ralf Rangnick's point of view, it does present him a bit of a problem. You know, it's not all sunshine and roses for him, because, as he mentioned in his press conference, he wanted and was open to working with the current coaching staff there for a variety of reasons. One, he's got a history of improving coaches and developing coaches. Thomas Tuchel's a great example of that. Even his former assistant manager that's now in his previous role at Lokomotiv Moscow, he developed him from a video analyst into assistant manager, and a quite renowned assistant manager as well. So I think he was hoping that maybe he would help develop some of these coaches, younger coaches, like Carrick and McKenna. That's obviously not happening. And also it presents just a headache of him trying to find a replacement now. He mentioned before, a lot of the people he used to work with, because Ralf Rangnick hasn't coached in 5 or so years, they're all in other jobs now. They're all in other contracts with other clubs, and it's difficult to get them out of that. On top of that, the visa issue when it comes to Brexit as well is difficult, so this takes time, and that's almost one thing Ralf Rangnick doesn't have at the moment, is time. His time as the manager is very finite. It's only 6 months. Now, it might be extended a little bit longer with everything that's going on at the moment, but he doesn't have a lot of time to be going after or figuring out who's going to be the next, who's going to be the next assistant manager, who's going to be an assistant coach. He's brought in the former New York Red Bulls coach, but now he's going to have to replace McKenna as well. So it does present him another headache. First you lose Carrick, and then you lose McKenna. So he's got to find another quick fix, and he's got to be focusing on his coaching staff, when ultimately he'd want to be focusing what's happening on the training pitch in terms of the players, improving their performance, improving their understanding of the tactics, etc. So that's an issue as well that Ralf Rangnick's going to have to overcome because of it. It's another headache he just doesn't need. But I think when it comes to Kieran McKenna, look, the writing was almost on the wall. Again, we talk about Ralf Rangnick there, but he's an interim manager. He's going to be in that role to the end of the season. Now, obviously, who knows what's going to happen in the future? Maybe he's going to be wildly successful, or maybe he will stay on. At the time right now, it looks like we're going to be getting a new manager at the end of the season, and that's certainly Manchester United's intention. Whether that's Pochettino, whether that's Ten Hag, whether that's whoever it is, we don't know who that's going to be at the moment. If it is Pochettino, if it is Ten Hag, if it is someone else, they're going to bring in their own coaching staff. So even now, and I think maybe this was the case with Carrick, I think Carrick's was more of an issue of him wanting time off, and he was almost Ollie's guy, so he didn't feel right being in that role after Ollie. But when it comes to McKenna as well, he probably knew he was a bit of a lame duck. He probably realised, actually, you know what? I'm not going to be in this role at the end of the season, probably, because if Pochettino comes in, he's going to replace me with his backroom staff. If Ten Hag comes in, he's going to replace me with his backroom staff. So I might be here to the end of the season. I might convince Ralf Rangnick to try and persuade Pochettino or Ten Hag to keep me on. But in reality, there's a high chance I'll be out of a job, and I've got a managerial job waiting for me, and I want to get into management. I'm 35. Ipswich Town is a big club, and it's too good of an opportunity to turn down considering all of the circumstances. So I think the writing was somewhat on the wall for Kieran McKenna, and for everyone, it's just time for a fresh start, isn't it? And sometimes timings don't tend to line up the way that some people would want, and sometimes it's just a case of if the opportunity's there, you've got to say yes, and that's what he did. I've seen some people saying, he was assistant manager at Manchester United and practically, very influential, making some big key decisions when it comes to playing style and tactics and training, and he becomes the manager of Ipswich, a League One club. Does that say a lot? you can read certain ways into it. He's never been a manager before, so he's going to drop down the leagues. But also, I do remember the time where our assistant manager, Carlos Queiroz, became the manager of Real Madrid. Wasn't successful, he came back. But I also remember Steve McClaren, when he was assistant manager at Manchester United, became the Middlesbrough manager, later became the England manager. Again, wasn't totally successful, but it does go to show, doesn't it, the sort of standard we had in charge at that period of time. Or even Walter Smith, this was a guy that was a former manager of Rangers, etc., came in, and Everton came in, was Alex Ferguson's assistant manager for about 6 months in 2003, then later went on to become manager of Rangers in Scotland over again. But I think going forward, who should his replacement be? Someone with experience. Someone's got experience coaching elite players, and hopefully that's going to be the case going forward. But Kieran McKenna is gone from Manchester United, so in the space of just a few weeks, we've got Solskjaer gone, Carrick gone, McKenna gone. And for a lot of people, ultimately, that's what they wanted. So we're going to see this new Manchester United be constantly rebuilt going forward, and it's certainly going to be interesting. But look, guys, as always, I hope you have a good Friday. I hope you're all staying safe. There'll be plenty of content coming soon. And Kieran McKenna, he's gone from Manchester United. I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Peace.